What's growing on, gardeners? It's Wednesday, October 4th, and it is a gorgeous fall evening here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And today's video has been 3 years in the making, and I couldn't be more excited because I'm finally going to harvest my very first fruit off of my incredible Giombo astringent Asian persimmon tree.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon store and spread shop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Last year, I took you along for a harvest on my Ikikikajiro Asian persimmon tree, which is a non-astringent variety. And the fruit of this is kind of like the size of a beefsteak tomato. Because it is non-astringent, you're able to eat it when it is underripe and still hard like an apple. However, I chose to wait until it was soft and gooey, almost like a bag of Jello. And it was one of the most incredible fruits I have ever had in my entire life. It was like eating candy. It was full of honey-like syrup, and it had notes of cinnamon and spice to it. Absolutely incredible. However, I'm even more excited to show you my Giombo Asian persimmon tree because that variety is somehow supposed to taste even better. Now, that Ikikikajiro persimmon tree that I just showed you is an incredibly easy tree to grow. It's naturally dwarfing. It only gets to be about 8 to 10 feet tall, and it's very precocious. It bore fruit for me its very next season. It's also very resistant to things like late frost damage because it tends to bud out late. So it is an easy tree to grow. It's also cold hardy to zone 6. This Giombo persimmon tree, on the other hand, is a lot more difficult to grow. It can get to be almost 15 to 20 feet tall. So here in my backyard, I have to prune it back annually. It's much more cold sensitive. This is a zone 7 tree. I'm in zone 8, so that's not a problem. But this does tend to break bud early, and each spring it tends to get a little bit of late frost damage that I have to cut back. Also, it is a notorious alternate bearer, meaning every other year it tends to have a poor crop. And this has been in ground for over 2 years. It's about 2.5 years in, and it's finally ready to pick a couple of fruits off of it. So now you may be asking, why am I going through the trouble of growing this tree when there are easier varieties to grow? Well, that is because this is supposed to be the connoisseur's persimmon, and I am a connoisseur. So I have been waiting for years to have my first fruit off this tree, and I couldn't be more excited right now. They say that nothing worth doing is easy, but hey, once these trees start producing, it tends to get a whole lot easier. I have 7 persimmons on this tree, and one of them is getting ripe here. This one is a nice dark orange, and astringent persimmons like this can't be eaten until they're soft like Jello, and this feels really soft to the touch. Otherwise, if you eat these too early and they still have astringency, they will almost taste like a cork off a bottle of wine, and it kind of will have this chalky taste that will suck all of the moisture out of your mouth. It's really unpleasant. But once they get soft, they're absolutely incredible, and at least I think they are. And you'll notice that this is in an organza bag. That's because I had a few rodents in my yard, and I wanted to make sure that I dissuaded them from eating this fruit. Now, the first thing I'm noticing here is that this persimmon is soft to the touch. Could I let this go a few more days and let it get even softer? Yes, I could, but every day this sits on the tree, it's more and more likely to get eaten by a mouse or a squirrel or a raccoon or something like that. So I don't want to take a risk any longer. Now, in many locations, persimmon fruits can get sweeter after a couple of frosts, which defoliate the tree and help soften up the astringent persimmons. However, I'm not going to see frost for probably more than a month. So obviously it's not going to last on the tree this long. However, if you were to pick it, you can set it on your countertop in a cool, dry area with no light exposure and let it soften up just like you would let bananas soften up. And hey, if you let it sit next to a bunch of bananas as they ripen, the ethylene gas that the bananas give off naturally will help speed up the ripening process of your other fruits. So I'm going to give this a light little twist, and it should pop right off. There it is. Now, first of all, just look how enormous this fruit is. This is a serious fruit right here. It almost looks like a mini bell pepper. This guy is an absolute monster. That's probably twice the size of something like a Fuyu persimmon from the grocery store. You'll also notice that it has a little bit of pest damage there. I don't think it's a peck damage from a bird or from a mouse or anything. It's probably from an insect like a wasp or something. So that's exactly why I'm saying you have to get to these quickly quickly, because if you don't get them, something else will. And the bottom of this, it just feels like Jell-O. I can't wait to cut into this and show you what I'm looking at. And now the moment that I've been waiting 3 years for, I'm going to cut into this live on camera. Oh my. Oh, the insides are literally falling out all over my hand. Oh, wow. Oh, I have to be careful. Look at that inside right there. Is that the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen? It looks like a tomato, but it's not a tomato, obviously. This is going to be like sweet, sweet candy. I just know it. Now, the thing that you will notice is this is a seedless fruit. That's because persimmons are self-fertile, so if they don't have male flowers around from something that produces male flowers, you're generally speaking not going to get any seeds. You'll see that this is where the seeds would be. They are all hollow. You'd have to have a pollinating variety here that would make seeds. So let's give this a taste. Oh my. This just may be... Oh my goodness. Literally the best fruit I've ever had in my life. I have never had anything that delicious in my entire life. If I could describe it, it tasted like a mixture of apricots with maybe some orange, something citrusy, super sweet, candy-like levels of sweetness, almost with a little bit of maybe a cinnamon nutmeg backing. I'm at a loss for words. I actually need to turn the camera off for a minute and regroup. Okay, I just gave myself a few minutes to settle down and collect my thoughts. Was that actually the best piece of fruit I've ever had in my entire life? Probably not, but it was absolutely incredible. Allow me to explain. First of all, flavor profile. Now that I sat back and thought about it, I think it tastes like a mixture of apricots, mangoes, and cinnamon. So if you combine all of those three together, it is just absolutely incredible. It's almost like semi-tropical, but it's so sweet that it has the sweetness of a lot of different temperate fruits. So that is a flavor combination that I don't think I've ever had before. Now, that being said, was that the best piece of fruit I've ever had in my entire life? Well, probably not, because I've had some absolutely incredible figs, some absolutely incredible mangoes, some absolutely incredible citrus. But it goes to show you that when you eat a piece of fruit fresh off of a tree like that, and we have these grocery store fruits to compare it to, they're just so much leaps and bounds better that often every single bite fresh off a tree like that is like this inspiring, I'm reborn again kind of feeling. You can't believe that something like that off of a tree is that delicious. So that being said, that persimmon did absolutely blow away my non-astringent persimmon. And that's saying a lot, because that was one of the best pieces of fruit that I had of my life last year. Absolutely incredible. But the flavor profile of this right here, this last slice that I'm saving for my neighbor, just absolutely incredible. So that Giombo persimmon, if that is the first fruit that ever ripens off of that tree, well, that is saying something, because fruit trees tend to produce higher and higher quality fruit as they age up until a point. So that should be one of the worst pieces of fruit that it puts out as an immature tree. So if I have even better fruits than that to look forward to in the future, I have heaven planted in ground about 10 feet in front of me. So that being said, I think I'm going to sleep outside on a chair every single night moving forward with a pellet gun on my lap to make sure I protect every single last fruit on that tree. I'm just kidding. I'm obviously not going to do that, but I am so happy and so excited that I have more fruits to look forward to, and I'll be sure to bag them all up because I need to protect them at all costs. It was that good. So if you're thinking of putting an astringent persimmon tree in ground in your yard, I think this Giombo, absolutely incredible. Easily one of the best fruits I've ever had in my entire life. They're a little bit more work because they take more time to produce than some fruits. They may be a little bit more work because they can be a little bit more cold sensitive than some persimmons, and they may be a little less reliable in terms of bearing when they're younger and take longer to fruit, but I'm telling you right now, it is worth the wait. That was absolutely incredible. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring that notification bell if you want to be notified when I release more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the things that I use in real life in my garden or to care for my fruit trees, all of those items are linked down below in my Amazon storefront in the video description. So expand that video description, click on the Amazon link, and you'll see everything that I use in real life. And while you're there, check out my spread shop for custom merch if you want to support the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Hey Dale, do you need a thirsty? I'm outside watering my plants. Uh-oh, that means yes. Let's turn it to full for you. Okay, mister. Oh, Dale loves drinking from the hose. We try not to give him too much hose water, but I've been watering for about 15 minutes now, so the hose water is really clean. So he really enjoys it. It's like a Dale water fountain. Want some more? Enjoy, buddy.